Three-quarter time, and it's the Sydney Swans by 62 points, 15-9. St Kilda 5-7. And a lot of the interest on the man with the number 23 on his Guernsey for the Sydney Swans. He's got 8 goals, 3, Buddy Franklin, at three-quarter time. Only once in his AFL career has he gone into double figures in a single game. And that, of course, back in 2012 when he kicked 13 goals against North Melbourne down in Launceston, round 10, 2012. I wonder what he's capable of this afternoon. Let's get down to Mark McVeigh.
Well, the Swans are dominating in a number of areas and winning the game easily. But one of their key indicators is their uncontested possession. They're really running hard. They're really providing run from the half-back line. Jared McVeigh has been free all day. Kieran Jack's had a lot of the ball, but St Kilda just are unable to cover the men that are carrying the ball, and they're able to pick off players at will. It's a really alarming sign to the St Kilda Footy Club and something they'll have to fix up in the off-season, but it just highlights how good the Sydney Swans are in terms of their work rate.
Good on you, Spike. It was a very good opening term from the Sydney Swans, and Jude, they found their best again in the third term.
Yeah, certainly. And as Spikey touched on, Jared McVeigh's been superb. He's had 21 disposals, 20 of those uncontested. So immediately from the get-go, he had the ball in hand and he was slicing the Saints up. They've done nothing about that the whole time, and they've paid the price. I mean, the Swans, they only averaged the 228 uncontested possessions across the year. And already they're running at 213 this at three-quarter time.
Yeah, they've had all sorts of trouble all year, St Kilda, of denying the opposition ball. Actually ranked 18th in the competition at that particular stat. And Jared McVeigh on screen, as you say, he's been enormous and been afforded far too much space in the middle of the ground. So we'll certainly keep an eye on the midfielders for the Swans, because they're the ones responsible of sending it down the throat of the key forward in Buddy Franklin. And 5 shy of 13. Baz, is he a show?
Not sure that he's got. Not sure that it's a 13-day, but you'd think, well, you'd think he'd kick double figures today, wouldn't you, the way he's gone?
Yeah, this last quarter, I think it'll be coming in pretty quick. Yeah, if his eyes are lighting up, I reckon.
You'd be a brave man to go against him, that's for sure, in his 200th game. So, as we said, on the run, it's the most goals in a game by a player celebrating his 200th match. He's got 8 goals, 3. It's also his biggest output at the SCG. Final term gets underway, and Stanley doing the ruck work for St Kilda. Stephen, Hayes, and the sub has been injected. Here's Shenton. Revolt just hangs off the pack, trying to get a run at it. He did that, but just couldn't get his arms free. And Rampy, who's played a really good game, slipping over. Maybe it's that end of the ground rather than the St Kilda boots. They've done that nicely. Biggs, cross to Laidler. Now Towers. So Towers and Biggs have got involved today, Jude, as well. That's another really promising sign for Sydney.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're talking about, that the 30th guys and those extra players outside the 22 and their ability to come in and have an influence, and they've done that today.
It's a good grab by Lenny Hayes. He wanted to go quickly, but he was just held up. The mark taken by Stephen. Short one. Didn't quite have enough on it. Well done by Parker, across to Rowan. Again, Biggs, the handball. Somehow got its way to Rowan. That was really well done by Towers, and Rowan then kept the ball going in front of him. Back to Rowan. He got it cleverly from Tippet, down in the Buddy direction. He's got Delaney to beat. Buddy can do anything, so why wouldn't he? He takes on his former Sydney Swan. He beats Dempster, and he's kicked 9.
Just so exciting to watch, Jude, isn't it?
Oh, he just sold the candy out and looked in, and then just with Sean Dempster hanging on to him, I think that was his favourite of the day so far.
While all that was happening, Mr. Franklin was coming back from the refreshment stand. I think he might have missed the 9th goal. And I changed my vote. 13 is possible. Here's Hanbury. Long again. It was well done. We shouldn't miss the fact that Tippet did so well in that build up to that last goal. His hands were so quick, and he did really nicely. Dempster, who was beaten by Buddy in the last goal, he won the football, but only as far as Malcheski.
Dempster's a permanent loose back at the minute, just putting himself in front of Franklin and Tippet. Fisher on Tippet, Delaney on Franklin.
So the Parker kick, he went looking for Laidler. It didn't get that far. Lloyd in the end. Now the long ball inside 50. Dempster. Shenton gets the ball from Fisher. The kick, not terrific. And Hanbury there worried a couple of them out of it, and in the end, the boundary line was the best result.
They're the kicks they've really battled with. Those exit kicks looked a little bit shaky again, just a cross goal coming over there, and then the Swans are able to put that pressure on. They've actually scored 11 goals, 6 from turnovers today.
So Tippet works his way in front. That's a free kick.
The Swans running due to 76% efficiency, the Saints 69, and that's been translated to the scoreboard.
That's that uncontested possession. That just the lack of pressure around the ball, up the ground.
Eye contact.
I mean, it's a forward's dream when your midfielders have got the time and space. It ends up being a training drill coming in.
St Kilda have activated their sub boys.
20 metres
off when
race.
Shenton comes on.
That's the distance, 20 metres. 15, thanks, Kat.
So Tippet's kicked a couple, kicking at his third. 14 disposals today. It's offline.
He's been good, I think. Basley hasn't obviously been the headline act in the front half for the Swans this afternoon, but at the very least he takes a very good defender. But if he's got his hands on the ball 14 times and a couple of goals, that's a good return.
Yeah, no, I think he's been really influential, actually. I mean, his much more so than the numbers suggest. Good grab by Shenton. And he's more than a foil, obviously, for Buddy. I mean, he is a foil for Buddy, but he's more than that. He's a genuine go-to man in his own right, and so clearly that just makes it so hard for any opposition trying to match up. But some of his work on the ground as well, his blocks, his little taps across, and some takes on the half volley have been terrific, Jude.
Very underrated in terms of his lateral movement for a 200 frame big man up forward.
Jude, what do you think about the, I mean, there's a lot of talk about the Swans forward line, obviously. Where does Sam Reid fit in the structure for the Swans come September?
Well, I think it's very similar to Goods in the fact that he still commands a good defender each time, and it just, I mean, opposition defences are always stretched, having 4 talls down there, and with his pace, I consider him almost a medium forward, to be honest.
Montagna did well there. He kept running. He got it from Shenton. Saunders not quite. Then Curran at ground level doing his very best to keep things moving in St Kilda's way, but they run into a bit of a brick wall, and Rampy again. Gee, what a player he's become this year.
Yeah, really versatile. He's got extreme pace and just can run all day, Ramp. So he's able to, you know, play on the talls and smalls and have that influence.
Great mark by Gilbert going back. Not easy to take. Dempster. Nathan Wright now. Buddy sweating on him. Buddy getting close. The slip didn't help. He knew it was coming, and Buddy maybe just overcommitted in the end. I think he sensed what everybody at the ground sensed. It's like he had a rabbit in the spotlights then, but he played it all right in the end, and well done, Wright, and they've moved the ball to the other end of the ground, although Rowan in the road. Not a good kick in from Savage. There's a genuine sense of expectation around the ground, isn't there, Tom?
Yep, no doubt about that.
So Rampy's run into a bit of a brick wall in the form of Longer. Well done by the big ruckman, and then Rampy decides the best way around him is through him. Handball not great to Pike, but he gets it back. Well done, Mike Pike. And Tippet is on here, and he should mark, and he does. What a strong grab.
Beautiful one-on-one inside 50.
So Buddy, one-on-one down deep. Delaney, Buddy in front, and Buddy will go back and kick for 10.
Now that's the defender's nightmare, Baz. You're one out, the ball streaming through Dane Rampy's effort deep to take the game on and then get the handball received and hit up Kurt Tippett. But you look here and we'll get a replay of it. Delaney is just so body conscious. Just watch, takes his eye off the ball, but he's just licked his lips and said, well, this is an uncontested mark.
And this is a career-high 11 marks inside 50 already.
He's kicked 641 goals to his career, but only once has he kicked double figures. In game number 200, for his second bag of 10, he misses one of the easiest shots he's had today.
That was probably the easiest he's had. I think he leant back on that. It was a bit more probably his natural kicking style, to be honest.
Almost kicked it too hard, didn't he? So 9 goals, 4 for Buddy Franklin. 3-1 in the opening term, 4-3 he had at half-time. He kicked 4 straight in the third term for 8 goals, 3, and he's now on 9-4. And we've got 14 minutes to play. And Sydney's lead is 70 points through the hands of Saunders. The pressure was there again. Malcheski gets it from McVeigh. And easy as you like. Parker, 30 metres out, runs in. Open goal. Sydney's lead 76 points.
And here's the turnover from the Saints right here. Quick kick from Nick Malcheski, just lowered the eyes. The scores from turnovers today, 13 goals, 7, 85 points. They average 56 points on turnover scores.
That goal caps a really good game for Lukey Parker. 28 disposals now and a goal. Is equal with Jack Stephen. They've both got 28. Lead all comers out on the ground. Biggs now with a footy in his hands. He's been very serviceable today, more than serviceable. Jetta not quite. Dempster bounced into his hands. And Ross, who made that previous error, with a chance to atone. Getting the ball moving forward quickly. Well done by Riebold. He had his back to that play as it was kicked. He tried to dish off a clever handball. Richards kept going and just couldn't keep it in.
Biggs up to 23 disposals now. Just from a Swans perspective, only Luke Parker with more, 28. It's been a really, really good inclusion. I mean, that just goes to show you the value of competition for spots. He's been spent his entire season thus far in the NEFL and has been able to keep his standards up and contribute significantly when given the chance late in the season.
And I think that's the benefit of having your own team in a competition, and that's why the two Adelaide teams have gone with their own particular side in the Adelaide competition as well, just because you get to work on their structures and systems and come in good players like this.
Gilbert sends the ball back towards Stanley. Well done by Grundy. Rowan's had a good game as well. Hanbury, McVeigh. Could have gone back to Hanbury instead, just squares things up, and Parker. Disposal number 29, and Rowan can go. Now, Buddy's not on the ground at the moment. Rowan keeps going. Well, this would be something he probably should have kept going. Towers, though, can run onto this football. Does it sit for him? He might get his boot to it. What a goal. Coast to coast. Sydney are doing everything right.
Goal up, score review. Goal umpire's call is a goal. We just like to check if it crossed the line. Thank you.
Warren Capper thinks it's a goal.
He's extremely quick, Dean Towers. Very athletic type.
I've got to say, neither of those shots are all that helpful. So we'll go to the umpires. Go to the umpire's call.
Review completed. Umpire's call.
Umpire's call, goal.
The goal stands Sydney's lead out to 82 points. And Towers with his first goal in senior football, the 24-year-old, just his fourth game. Another great story. And gee, we saw his speed, didn't we? Both of them. Rowan, so speedy through. I thought he could have kept going, actually, but he knew Towers was there and he knew what he was capable of. And great to see a player kick his first goal in the big league.
You could see how dangerous it was. You also had Lewis Jetta trying to hunt back inside 50 on the other side of the ground. But Dean Towers, great to see a young guy get their first goal in AFL anytime.
Had to wait a long time for it to be confirmed. And in all of that, one of the great anticlimaxes, when Rowan got going, the crowd looked up and thought, here we go, where's Buddy? And hadn't realised that he'd snuck off. Mark McVeigh, that was interesting too. What a luxury it was when Kurt Tippett came on and Buddy Franklin came off.
Yep, two very large men that we'd all love to have in teams that you played in over the years. But look, they look sensational, don't they? And they are still driving those standards, coming on and off the ground, really talking to each other, saying, let's be ruthless and let's really finish the game.
Well, Buddy's back out there now and he's around the footy. Gilbert had to be quick. Armitage to target. Lloyd's given away the free kick. So Montagna, well, disposal 20 was beckoning there. He might get it here in the end. Though Longer's handball not good, and McVeigh taken high.
Over the shoulder. Over the shoulder. Hang on.
So Buddy signalling he wanted it to the fat side of the ground. They go skinnier though, and Jetta. It comes in the Buddy direction anyway. Delaney and Buddy, and well done Fisher getting across the double fist across the line.
Much more support right there in front of Buddy Franklin. Probably in a much better position, some of the St Kilda defenders there to float across and make the spoil.
So Fisher has Hayes short. Parker up to 29 disposals.
Right in amongst the All-Australian contention, I would have thought, Luke Parker. A number of these Swans obviously being top of the table.
So Weller back to Stephen. He ran into a bit of trouble. Ray there to assist. From The defensive 50 swings it around the body. That was a very clever kick. And Shenton, who'd led up a long way. Cunningham on the mark.
You look at Gary Rowan, I think he's had a fantastic game. He's playing off half-back. We know how well he can run and carry the ball and use it. Those little release kicks, that's the next element of his game. If he's going to play across half-back, you've got to shut those marks down.
So Bird to Jack. Buddy one out again. Buddy fending off, and Buddy takes front position and marks. Right on the 50. 9 goals for alongside his name for the afternoon. And perhaps this distance more to his liking than the previous shot on goal.
Breeze is going left of screen as well, so it's over his shoulder. We'll see how he goes.
Bona fide superstar of the AFL. 27-year-old in his 18th game for his new club. Game 200. Only once before has he kicked double figures. Kicking for 10, it's been touched. Well, the anticlimaxes keep coming.
On the line.
He's not happy with it too. He had a little chat to the umpire right there about what it was.
So Savage, the quick follow-up play. Farron Ray. Curran's kick out in front of Montagna. Now for disposal number 20. He's got Laidler to get around. He kept running. Brilliantly done by Laidler. Montagna really ran into the smother, if you like, but it was still very well done. Never easy to do. Hanbury, McVeigh, Laidler kept going. Hanbury kept going as well. They're running in waves now, the Sydney Swans. Tough one into the middle. Malcheski perhaps should have left it for Parker. Well done to Schneider. He got it from Hayes. Schneider, he's had 2 bounces. He's on the 50. Pulled the kick short to Stanley. Not the required journey. He tries to hook it around. That's a great finish from Stanley.
Well, here it is. Adam Schneider lowered his eyes to Bruce Stanley. Called to play on, and then the ability to turn on a dime and snap over the shoulder. It was a brilliant finish.
So just under 10 minutes remaining. It's going to be a big win for the Sydney Swans. The worry, I guess, is Kennedy. The hamstring injury appears not so serious, but certainly enough to have him subbed out of the game during the second term, and you would think he almost certainly would miss the remainder of the home and away. Stephen, it's got a precautionary nature about it, there's no doubt about that. So fingers crossed for Josh Kennedy, who's had such a good year. It would be terrible if he was robbed of September. And it was a great mark by Malcheski, wasn't it? Now Lloyd.
Play on.
Towers kicked a goal and got good hands, Jude. Yeah, he's just gaining confidence with every time now. He's I mean, he's just letting his talent shine. He was a mature age draft pick. Took a while to debut, but you could see all the, I guess, the guys getting around him once he kicked that first goal before.
And the boy from Colac, he played a lot of footy with North Ballarat in the VFL, getting his opportunity. And he'll have an idea that, well, I don't just want to play, I want to stay in this team. Anything is possible this year. And Tom, out of the 3 that are clear of the chasing pack headed by Fremantle, is there one above the other at the moment?
Hawthorn and Sydney?
Hawthorn, Sydney and Geelong?
Look, I think even Geelong coach Chris Scott said last night that they feel they're a couple of rungs below Hawthorn and Sydney. Hawthorn beat the Swans a couple of weeks ago, so you have to go on recent form. But when you look at the Swans play like this with a couple of players out, they've got the top shelf weapons, I think, that perhaps puts them just marginally ahead of Hawthorn and Geelong.
Hawthorn with Fremantle, Geelong and Collingwood still to come, as Shenton has a long shot on goal. It's just offline. Sydney, after this one, the Western Bulldogs and Richmond. That Richmond game at ANZ Stadium, and the Cats with Hawthorn and the Brisbane Lions to come.
For the Saints, Tom, how important is this draft coming up?
Oh, it's hugely important, Judos. Everyone knows, well, the St Kilda fans in particular, they went hard at the draft last year. Billings obviously came out of the side injured. He looks like he's a player. They've got Dunstan as well. They traded out McAvoy and brought in Longer. So it's a definitely and distinctively different St Kilda squad than the one that played in grand finals only 4 years ago. But when you rebuild, it does take a long time.
They seem to be paying for that, I guess, trying to continue that premiership winning window during that, I guess, almost successful period, didn't they? There's only 4 remaining, but 24 brought in during that time.
Well, they brought in players like Peake from memory, Ryan Gamble from Geelong, to add that sort of depth between player 18 and 25, and they obviously didn't quite get the premiership. And plays a double-edged sword, as we'll just watch this play out.
Round the front, high.
Just to quickly finish on that high free kick here to Tippet. When you top up with mature age recruits from other clubs, you're not developing and giving opportunities to younger players, so it's hit them doubly hard, the Saints.
Tippet plays on quickly. He likes his chances from there, and Kurt Tippet getting better and better. He's kicked 3.
It's a really similar game to the one when the Swans played Essendon at Etihad Stadium. Buddy kicked 5 or 6 that night. Kurt Tippet bobbed up with 3, and is just a contributor playing his role. And you just watch, I mean, you watch the work off the ball there with Franklin, but the sheer size of Tippet on Fisher. He's over 200 centimetres, north of 100 kilos, and there aren't too many key defenders who can get in a wrestle and even break even with a man of that size.
Parker for disposal number 30. Here's Tippet again. Oh, courage going back. What a really good mark taken by Nunes. A lot of courage required there, and that was a really good grab.
He's been a shining light for the Saints this year, Jack Nunes. Was involved in the AFL Academy under the tutelage of Jason McCartney, Michael O'Loughlin, those sorts, and he's developing well for the Saints.
He was involved there again. Punch forward by Laidler. He did that nicely. That was interesting. Not sure about the disposal from Fisher, but somehow he managed to get the football across to a teammate, and in the end it was deemed okay, and Nunes got the ball forward again. Now Richards. Pike. Not a good kick for Grundy. Montagna, who's kept working. Disposal number 23, and Shenton is clear here. Now Revolt is caught behind Richards, but that was an excellent second lead, and he runs into the space and marks.
That's the hit up that he wants. low and hard in front. Nick Revolt's allowed to come back at the footy. He was able to body and come straight back at the ball. They just go back and just kick this one truly.
83 points is the lead for the Sydney Swans. I notice
15,
Mark McVeigh, nobody's left.
No, everyone's still here. They're waiting for that 10th goal, aren't they? But a lot of players starting to come from the ground as Nick Revolt kicks the goal with cramp.
He's kicked 2 and now 3. And the big champ from St Kilda, tireless again.
It's worked tirelessly, the skipper, as he always does. Could be in line for another best and fairest award at the Saints. It was a turnover from Mike Pike, which left the Swans defenders open. But
just jumped in, and Reece Stanley.
Revolt the recipient.
In the back, Reece Stanley.
Important they finish well here, the Saints.
Interesting call there from umpire Farmer. So Stanley, that was a good kick too, and Revolt free again. Well, this would be a handy return, wouldn't it, for the afternoon? 4 goals in a team beaten by 70-odd points. Revolt goes short, and the kick is excellent. Well done. Curran marks. No one wants to take the shot at goal. The honour falls to Reece Stanley from 55. He bangs a long-range goal.
In the end, he didn't go for the ball. He just jumped into it. But you had your arm up going for it, okay.
Just a quality square up from the Saints guys. Curran just looks inboard. Just beautiful hit up. Reece Stanley, we've just shown again how important this guy is to their team structure and how agile and mobile he is. He's just able to turn on one step again. 55-metre bomb here at the SCG and put it straight through. So much talent has he. He's playing as the ruckman at the moment, and Mike Pike, his direct opponent, just coming across the ball there, was drifting back into the hole, and he's the player that you need to watch because he can provide a bit of run through the midfield also, and just shows his talent. I mean, he gives you glimpses every now and again. Reece Stanley, I think we're all waiting to see him string it together for 4 quarters.
So Buddy's got 9 and Nick Revolt with 3, and that's his best effort on this ground as well. Not quite as impressive as the 9 for Buddy Franklin. It's a personal best on the SCG, but still not bad, and they keep running. Shenton gives it to Weller. Here's Revolt, a chance for 4. He's got a couple to beat. Rowan did well. Grundy stayed down. The look-away handball, not brilliant. Armitage. Rowan kept coming. Good tackle.
Yeah, that's what you want to see from Gary Rowan as a small back. He came with the flight of the ball, and I guess that tells the tale of the tape. The Saints getting a little bit of momentum here, but he's got to play desperate. He's got to play ruthlessly in the back half if he wants to make a fist of halfback.
Hayes did well there. He was third man up, even though he wasn't actually up. And then the kick forward from Nunes. Long back towards the square. Oh, good grab. Rowan's hands have been a feature today.
Yeah, Teddy Richards just protected the space enough to allow him to take that uncontested mark.
Yeah, he's been really good.
Moving on now.
Gary Rowan in the back half of the Swans.
So will Buddy be able to get to double figures in game 200? As Mark McVeigh mentioned, everybody stayed. They'd love to see it. Reid, Parker trying to break through that tackle. 32 disposals. He's kicked a goal. He's been outstanding, hasn't he?
It was interesting to see Adam Goods start a few times in the centre square today, and obviously pushing forward now, but it shows he has got pretty good confidence in his body at this stage.
Here goes Parker again. He breaks free for disposal. 33. He uses Hanbury. Now Bird. Buddy Long just at the top of the square. It's going to go now as Buddy leads. One-handed. Did he keep it in? No. Well, not for the first time this afternoon. We've seen Buddy do all of the hard work, lose his direct opponent, and then not quite be able to complete the mark.
He was just shaking his head as he went back to his mark there, and he just knew he just blew a chance.
Well, he wants it. The crowd wants it. I reckon his teammates want him to get it, and Goods just over the line. So the last Sydney Swan to kick a bag of 10 back in round 16, 1998. It was Tony Lockett. 9-4 for Buddy Franklin. He had 4-3 at half-time. Goods, no free kick. Ross kind of danced through the track. Thick. Ray back to Ross. Montagna, good handball forward for Nunes. And now St Kilda can run. Now he's got nothing to kick to at all, so he just needs to keep running. He sends it long. Weller, one of the runners for him. He just couldn't get it on that line, and McVeigh peels off easily. Just kept backpedaling, and the footy really fell into his hands.
Needed to hold that up there and just wait for the cavalry. Obviously, Longer was the only one working back, but Rewalt was caught up at that stoppage beforehand.
So Biggs, who's been useful today, Rowan as well, Jeddah. He can run. He finds the gap and goes for it. Tippet's got 2 to beat. He's the meat and the sandwich. He used the body in front on Ray. Ross, Fisher, back to Ray. Good shepherd by Fisher. Sends a high ball towards the wing. Rowan again. Dempster there with him. Rather Armitage and the ball over the line. And in it will come again. So Buddy's got 2 minutes and 14 to do something special. Sydney's lead 71 points. It's been the Swans' day in game number 200 for Buddy Franklin. Lloyd sends a bouncing ball towards half forward. What's their best setup, do you think, Jude? Is it Buddy deep in the square and Tippet a little further in front, or perhaps alternating?
Continue to alternate. I think Buddy sometimes just needs to, if he's not finding the footy, work up and get the footy, and he's very good coming back in with the footy. And Tippet sometimes just pushing up.
They did well there. Weller started that off. And Wright, who's been pretty good today, 12 disposals, and the ball's out of bounds on the full, so the Swans will get it back into their hands.
You can see they almost set up a little bit of a triangle at different times with the loose in the middle, and it just allows them to work off.
Yeah, back to the Swans forward structure. Baz, I just think you just throw the opposition different looks all the time. I guess the flexibility of all 4 key forwards the Swans have means, there we go.
McVeigh kicks, Buddy leads, Buddy on the chest. 45 metres out, slight angle. This is his chance.
Is Mr. Franklin out of the seat yet?
No, it's 10. It's 10.
No.
Yep. 13 marks inside 50. I'm going to go out in the limit, call it here, Baz. So
Plugger Lockett was the last Swan to kick a bag of 10, round 16, 1998.
15 seconds gone.
Buddy Franklin's 200th game. Only once before has he managed double figures. 13 famous goals back in 2012. Kicking for 10. Not this time either. Well, he can't say he hasn't had his chances. A big smile from Buddy Franklin. 9-4 and 1 out of bounds on the full, and Team Buddy on their feet nonetheless.
He's had 15 shots a goal, Buddy. He's had the 9 goals, 4 and 2, 1 touched, 1 out of bounds. It'd be nice to have 15 shots on goal.
Hanbury almost. Longer mopping up at the back. Montagna. Disposal number 26, and Revolt, it just got away from him. Coming hard, Saunders. Did well, got it to Weller. Revolt still a chance. So we're down to 27 seconds. But he might get one more opportunity if the Swans can get it in their hands. Revolt. Ross. And Nunes. Schneider was in there as well. How many handballs for Buddy today?
It's Ablett Senior-esque. It's 19 kicks, no handballs. 15 shots on goal.
He's actually outscored St Kilda Football Club by 2 points.
Jack Stephen with what might be the last play of the day. Sydney too good. They're rolling towards another big September. Buddy couldn't quite kick the 10 in game 200, but 9 goals for. Not a bad day's work. So Sydney by 71 points. Buddy Franklin the star, 9 goals for in game number 200. The pre-game show tonight, Saturday night footy from the Adelaide Oval, Adelaide and Richmond. And Buddy Franklin is the special guest in the pre-game show. We'll get all his thoughts on what was a big afternoon for Buddy. Stand by now for 7 News.
1, 2, 3.